of using AI in research. So jumping from this hype now and this that we faced last years of this flood of information, and that it's gonna change everything in science to a real understanding and to a more pragmatic approach to AI. I designed this presentation with the aim to be like a real more a conversation. I still consider myself a young researcher like you all, and if you want to interact at any point, as have been said, you can just raise your hand, and we can discuss it. I also design a few more participatory activities at the end. We'll see if we have time, because 1 hour can be really short when you start talking about research and AI. So if we have time at the end, we can also do some interaction to test also some AI tools that I think can be interesting. And also, if you want, obviously I don't know all of the AI platforms or AI tools. So if you know anyone that's not on the presentation or that I know I mentioned, you are very welcome to to say, to present it, to also bring it to debate. So let's just start with the presentation. So the first is this, I will go over, is this idea that AI, it's not a magical solution, it's not a machine that will do all the work for us, but it's just a helpful partner. It's just an assistant that it can help us in a lot of ways, but it will not automate all the studies and then solve these social conflict complex problems that we face, especially in social science and more when we are researching with childhood and families. So it's very important to understand that when we deal with this type of fields, that is, for example, childhood, there is even more ethical sensibilities that that rise, and then it will be very important to always keep this human agency. That's, I think, that's being very discussed in this field now, in the AI and research field, and that it's very difficult for AI to bring this more human part to all, and obviously to the research. So the first idea that I will go over through is this: that obviously AI is changing research, but it's very important to see it more as a partner, as a system that can help the researcher, not as a magical tool that does all the research for us, and then we just have to oversee it. Then also to go over this AI in research, we first have to really understand what actually is AI. The best part in Europe is that we already have an AI law. That's the European Commission AI Act, that gives us a framework, and it's always a way to actually define AI. We define it basically as a machine with high level of autonomy that takes some input, mainly data, and produce an output. This is not something new. Actually, if you think to any machine, always work in the same pattern. No, so if you think in a washing machine, you put an input, that's this dirty clothes, and you take an output, that's the clothes being clean. So in any machine that you can think, it works in this way. You put an input, there is this autonomy side or part of the process, and then you get an output. So AI is not different in this sense. But the sense or the more different part of this is that the outputs are results like very simplified from an input that's very large. So we get a lot of information and we get it translated in an output that's kind of simple and in natural language. So that's the main difference when we think in artificial intelligence. But the most important right now is that we conceive AI as a narrow AI. We don't have for today, and I think it will take if we arrive there a lot of time to have a general AI. Right now, we have these AIs that are very specialized and very specific, and they don't work as a human like mind, so they don't work interrelating different fields, or if they do it not in a very good they are not good at it. So if you think in any AI that may come to mind now, is they are very specific task, and as more specific they actually used to be or are even better doing their work. As we try to do it more generally, they start to being like on producing results of a lesser quality. And it's important to also to conceive that at the end, these AIs are advanced algorithms that they are very useful, obviously, as most of algorithms, to recognizing patterns. But there is not actually self-awareness, or there is not actually understanding the context. So that's more us from the outside, giving them this human characteristic, but they are not understanding the context and then give us a result. So in this way, we have this narrow approach. We have this way that they are not self-aware. So what can help us in this? So we can use AI mainly to augment, to being like having our capabilities in a higher scale. But they, and this is the most important part, they do not replace our critical thinking. They can give us a lot of information. They can give us some specific points to attach, but us as researchers, we have to remain responsible for the interpretation, for making sense, and also for bringing this part of the ethical judgment. Why? Because this of doing interpreting this, making sense of the information that summarized that we are receiving from the AI is, in one point, the most important part of the research. So is when we make sense of the data. Otherwise, it's just data. We have information, but when we take this, we interpret it, we create a sense from this, then we have this part of creating knowledge. No, we take information and we create knowledge. So AI is very good in presenting this information, in summarizing, in looking for patterns, etc. But it's not as good doing making sense of it. And then is why we have to always keep this part of the process to us, and always the more important. As we will see in the forward in the presentation, there is a very important part in also understanding that the emotional part, or not the emotional, but maybe the when we express emotions, this is very difficult for AI to catch. So it's very important us to supervise everything that's more related with this human part, that in social science, working with families, working with children is a very important part that we can not oversee. So as we have this sentence in the slide, that's I think it's kind of very summarizing of it. That say AI can catch numbers or text like really fast, and a set of data that are very huge. But we have to provide the insight. We have to look for the information and transforming it to knowledge. In this sense, when we are using AI in research, these are the main 4 points that it can help us and that can actually improve our task as a researchers. It enables big data analysis. That means that it can process, it can go over big sets of data, huge actually sets of data, and in a speed that it will take for us like a lot more of time. So this helps us in making research faster, so we can extract some points to go over in a large samples of sample sizes in a very fast way. So it can also help us in this part of analyzing like very big data sets. It also helps us and is very, very good. Actually, maybe this is the best characteristic or the best superpower, as the slide says, of the AI, is that it helps finding subtle or complex patterns. There is very subtle patterns that will be very difficult for the human side to discover or just to predict, and AI we'll see in one of his challenges that we don't actually know very much how it is doing it, but it gives us insights on some patterns or very complex patterns or very subtle patterns. It signals us that hey, here there is something that may be worth to look for, and that for us it will be very difficult, but because it can be very subtle or because it might take a lot of variables to connect. Then I think that's very interesting in this way that AI it can signals us that hey, look more in detail in this direction or in this sense, and then obviously us as a researchers we have to keep digging in this way, but it can indicate us that going over one direction or another. And obviously, I personally think that AI is more revolutionizing or is more changing ways of doing research in qualitative research, because obviously we had previously tools and very powerful tools to go over quantitative data, very statistical tools or parametric tools to actually deeper in quantitative data. But this characteristic of AI of using natural language processing, that's this characteristic that have AI, that they can communicate with us through natural language that we said, so in the way that we will communicate to another human. So that it's very useful, obviously, for qualitative research, because in analyzing any type of content, any type of thematic analysis, it's very revolutionizing in this way, because we had no previous technology that can do something similar. So here it says interviews, focus groups that are expressed in language, in natural language, now becomes very or more faster to code, or at least actually the more the process that we will follow will be more like in the same way that that the previous point, that he signals some directions to go, but now we can do it not just with numbers but also with language. I think that's the most changing point in the interaction with AI. And also not much related with research or as much, but more with the role of the researcher. That we know that nowadays researchers have to do a lot of tasks, not just the research. That we obviously have to do classes. We have to also a lot of emails. We have to also process audio recordings, for example, that it's it here in the slides. But nowadays the researcher has a lot of tasks, and in this task also it can help us to be more fast doing it and to boost in some point our efficiency, because we can give more time to the task that gives us a better or more value to our job, that not just this more bureaucratic or more non directly related task to our research. So that helps us to have a higher level analysis interpretation, because we are giving more time to this task. So I will keep in mind these four main superpowers of AI. That will be this a higher speed of processing huge amounts of data, and helping in discovering subtle or complex patterns in our data, and also a faster way to process qualitative or language-based data, and also help us with this non-research less or more time-consuming tasks that are not actually related with or directly related with the research task. But with these superpowers always comes some kind of challenges or risk. And when we use AI in research, we should keep this risk in mind, or we should actually consider it before using AI in the research, and help us decide where to use it and where not to use the AI in our research. We have to keep in mind that AI are machines. Yes, they are based on algorithm. Yes, but these algorithms, they have biases, and they have biases because they are built for someone. They are not just neutral. Actually, if you, I don't know if you know, but McLuhan, that was a very famous academic of the 1980s, always said that technology was not neutral, and actually technology is not neutral, because technology is built by humans, and humans are not neutral. Then we have to keep in mind that this technology is not neutral. If these algorithms have been built for someone, they will have most of their same biases that these people have, and they will have some shortage in some kind of data. Here, for example, and they say that children are often underrepresented in the research data. If you look for the big corpus of all the research, we will find that the opinion, the voice of children is underrepresented if we compare it to the adults data that we have. Then, as more of these language models are, or these algorithms that construct these large language models are based on the information that we have available, will be more information from the adults than from the children, then the children voice will be underrepresented. That's obviously that's kind of negative, but that doesn't mean that we cannot use the AI for researching with children. That means that we have to keep in mind that this is a thing it's going on. That if I want to research with children and I'm using AI, probably the chatbot, the platform, the algorithm that I'm using has some biases. And this is an example that related with children, but probably you already have heard that they have these general also biases. And most of AIs, if you ask for a monster, for a monster in a masculine way, it will present a blue monster, and if you ask for a monster woman, it will be represented in pink. So that's a showing of these biases that the algorithm used to have. So that doesn't mean, as I said, that we cannot use AI, but we have to keep in mind that these chatbots have these biases, and that obviously, if they have these biases in their data, they will have these biases in the outputs that we were talking, in their results. So be aware of that. There is some tools that help us to see if there is if these biases are very pronounced or they are less pronounced in this sense. For example, EVM has some fairness tool. There is another that's AEF fairness tool that also take these large language models, that the different AIs that we have available right now, and they do like an analysis of their data they've been trained and tell us about their biases. Then that's the first problem. That's the most discussed problem, but we have more problems. For example, another that's very important in our field, in the research field, is the black box models. So with AI, what happens? We have a lack of transparency problems. And obviously, this goes in two ways. Most of these chatbots are from private entities that they don't want to give out the information of how they are doing the training of their models. So they want to keep the information about that. But even there, we don't actually know how models operate in a deep sense. So there is a point that we don't understand why this is working. So we know there is different layers of nodes of neural nodes that work together, but actually we don't know the reasoning behind some of the decisions of the AI. So right now, I don't know if you know, but the last Nobel Prize have been actually for the builders, for the designers of an AI that helps rebuild proteins, and is a 98% accuracy building this model of proteins. But we don't know why. So we know it's highly exact because we can check the response, and we don't have another system that works as high as this accuracy doing this. But so we know that he is doing it right, but we don't know the reasoning behind. So in AI is another thing that happens, and that we have to be aware when we use it, that we may have the output, but we don't know the reasoning. Why are we having this output? So a good way to work it is then go over why we have this result. So we know that this result can be, or this pattern is there, but now is our job or our task to go over and find a reasoning why this is happening. Another problem that's very famous is the misinformation hallucination. So this is basically that AI is programmed to give you a response, to give you an output, not to give you a correct output. That's important to know. So because a lot of people more in a user way of AI, they are they are thinking that all the outputs or the results that AI is giving us are correct, and they don't have to be checked. No, all the results from AI have to be checked because as I said, it's being programmed to give you a response, and he or it will be giving you a response. Another thing is that this response is correct or is accurate or not. That is when we had these problems, mostly at the beginning of the AI boom, that they are having some hallucinations or giving us the incorrect information, or the reference that are being invented. This is because we are talking about a statistical AI works in a statistical way. It goes over the probability of the next word after the words that have been preceded by. So it's not understanding the context, and it's not giving you correct answers always. So always check for the response of AI. Obviously, this is being with time is being kind of being solving it. So at the every year, every day, we have less hallucinations and less misinformation by the models, but still we have to keep in mind that they don't have to give us correct answers. Also, there is a problem that we said before, that we have this superpower of AI to detect subtle patterns. So sometimes it detects so many subtle or very finished patterns that they are not important. So they are just quirks of our population, our data, or it's that many small patterns that are not relevant. So sometimes also this can gives us not just false directions to follow, but also it can just overfits our data in different points. So also we have to take into account in this point that they can go too much fine to find a pattern. So and that's another thing that it's a risk. And obviously it's a, for me, I think it's less of a risk. That's the over reliance, because I think this is a very new technology. So obviously very few persons that do not work in the informatic or more technical field will have a very developed competency on this. But with over time and advancing in this way, we will have more competence on this. And I will think that obviously researchers in this point will keep educating themselves in this sense, and just ensuring that AI is just as we said at the beginning, a support tool, and it's not a crutch or a thing that makes us more lazy. It's just a way of being more efficient, or in doing our task in a more deeper in a deeper way. But we have to be aware that we cannot let this to not learn the basis in research, the methodological basis, or the more critical thinking basis, because we had the AI that already is doing this for us. No, we need a very expertise level to oversee AI. If I have not the knowledge to know if a decision of AI is correct or incorrect, then I will have problems in overseeing their job, overseeing the results of AI. And for this, it's important that we, now that we have this powerful tool that's AI, we don't forget to always educate ourselves about all the fields that we still need to be expertise. We need to be expertise about methodological processes, yet AI can help us in doing the process. So some ethical considerations. The ethical in AI is a full scientific field, so it's huge, and it's actually experiencing a boom with the from 2021 changes. But I try to here to give an approach to more to our field, no, because we actually work with families and children. Obviously, we have these ethical standards that go over all fields of research. But I think that obviously, if we work with families and with children, we have to uphold very strict ethical standards, because we are working with persons, and in a lot of time with persons that they are children, they are not adults, and they have to be protected in a very in a stronger way. And obviously, because more of this research also work with persons in situation of vulnerability, that in addition they it have to be protected in a higher way. So if you were to work in AI, obviously, first of all is asking permission to the persons that that you are researching on and that you will use AI. And also, I will recommend to anonymize the data before you use any kind of AI with the data. Because obviously, if we had enough funding, we can build our large language model. But right now, this is a very expensive process, and very few researchers will be able to go over this. Then this means that we will have to use large language models or of AI platforms from a third person. That means companies. Most of them are private companies that are seeking for some kind of return on it. But as this year has been announced also for the government of Spain, the creation of Alia, that's the first AI in Spanish, and also, well, in Spanish, in Catalan, Galician, and Euskera. That's the co-official languages in Spain. And also that will be like a public funded model. But usually most of them are from private entities that are seeking for an economic return. So first of all, as I said, ask for permission to the persons that you are researching on and that you are gathering data, and be sure that you are able to follow the GDPR of the European Commission, and also will be recommended to anonymize, and if you can encrypt, that's a more higher way to do it. But and to keep also this point, what I recommend is not just anonymize your data and ask for permission, but do not use AIs that are online. What I mean with this, if you have a computer that's less than 10 years old, mine, for example, is 8 years old, so it's not new. You can you have ways of downloading some AI tools to your computer and run them in a local way. We can talk about this if you want at the end how to do it, but I think that's a good way of doing it for different reasons. First one is because the data doesn't go to any server that it's in any country in the world, or even in the same country, but it's out of your institution ecosystem. So in this way, if you download the the model to your computer, and you can run the model in your computer. You can do it in a way that the data always stays in the ecosystem of your university, of your institute of research, wherever is your institution. So the data, it's more secure because it's always protected by all the security systems that the university always has in this sense for their network. So as I said, we can talk it at the end of the session, but I think it's a good way to keep this ethical standard high and be secure that the data is not shared with another person. And also, that's more in an ethical research frame. Be transparent about the use of AI in the research process. So be honest if you are using AI. And using AI is not wrong. It's another tool. It's wrong when we use AI and we don't say it, we do it. So if we use AI in our research process, just say it in your transference. If you are using AI for the analysis of some of your data, just in your methodology, you said that some of them of the data was analyzed by with this AI, trained with this data, and the hyperparameters means to the prompt that you used, how you presented the data to the AI, what was the instructions that you give actually to the AI. So it's just being transparent with the process, as you do in the methodology. You do. And you usually say, no, what you did, the procedure that you follow, and the design that you presented. So if you, in this procedure, you use it AI, you describe it, and it's not wrong to use AI in research. But don't be afraid to say how you do it. That's actually more ethical problem than using AI. That's not any kind of wrong thing. And also acknowledge that the AIs have some limitations and have some, as we said, biases and black box models problems, and also explain this, reflect on this on your sections, no, on your sections of limitations, or even in methodology. Just it's important just to be transparent in the using of AI. And also more specifically to the writing of articles. That's a thing that it's always coming up in this kind of sessions. I will recommend ensure that you use AI in a support tool, not just to write for you, but it's really powerful to structure your knowledge or your data and how to present it in the article, into oversight your grammar, your any kind of misspellings, in synthesizing some part of information. Now that we a lot of times go over the limit of words, so it can help us in a very interesting way, AI. And also is very important that we are aware that if we ask AI to write for us a large fragment of text, it can have uncited information or uncited ideas that it can go over plagiarism, because obviously, as I said, AI is not trained to give you the correct answer, it's trained to give you an answer. And if you ask them to write a text of something, it can give us a very correct text, but it cannot say from where these ideas are coming. So be aware that if you are asked the AI to write for you, it's a thing that can happen. So, and the responsible obviously is not the AI, is the human behind the AI. So be aware of that. Always cross check the results of the AI for some ideas that can not be seated. Okay, another thing that is really interesting from AI for the research is this part of co-creation of idea generation. Help us in the generation of research, or in the origination in the generation of transference ways of our research. So I always use it, for example, as a brainstorming partner. I use it AI in this way a lot of times, and actually maybe is the thing that I do most with AI. If you need a person, that's actually not a person, but if you need something that from trying to gather your ideas, or trying to connect with other ideas, I think to discussing, to talking, to chatting with AI, it's a very good way. And now that we have these chatbots that you can talk from voice to voice, so that's like for example, ChatGPT have this voice to voice, but there is a lot more AIs that you just talk and it talks back to you. So you don't have even to write that. Sometimes it's kind of more tiring, but discussing some ideas that you have for your research with the AI. I think that it could be interesting to researching about this phenomenon that's going on, and how this affects family. How do you think it can affect families? And he's going to give you a feedback. It doesn't mean this feedback is correct, but it can help you to reflect and to connect with new information that you don't know, and that may actually be very interesting for your research. So it's a very interesting way to discover things that you do not know, and that might have connections to your research, or to your ideas. And the importance of this is that AI, it's actually an expert in a very transversal way. Though it's very good also connecting fields, and that's why it also really helps in this way, because it can help you connect concepts from sociology to psychology and to education, because it has a bigger set of data in their mind than any kind of human can have. So obviously, then we have to check when we arrive at a conclusion if this thing that it's saying is actually true. But I think it's very good to generate, to bring to fires very good ideas for research, and for anything, actually, not just for research. And also very good to refine your academic writing. As I said, it's actually trained for. I'm listening myself. Okay, now it's good. Okay, so it's actually, most of these chatbots are trained in English, so their primary language is English. Then anything that is related with this language is very used to be very good. And always for this part of the writing, it's very recommendable to check the journal specifications. At the beginning, we had to cite the AI as an author. Right now, I don't remember any journal, or doesn't come to mind any journal that requires that. But some journals requires that if you use AI for academic writing, for supervising your grammar or whatever, you have to say it. Some others explain very clear that if you use just for writing, you don't have to say it. If you use it, the AI, in your research process, this is different. But if you use it for academic writing, or for supervising and changing the paragraphs and fluency of English, and most journals do not require you to just to explain it, but some of them may. So always check the journal specifications. And also, as I said, and very related to this first point about the brainstorming partner, it's very good connecting dots, connecting points between fields, or across fields, actually. And obviously, these connections used to bring up or spark more innovative ideas or ways to different ways to see things. So as I said, it's very useful in this way of reflecting, talking with someone. If you need to talk with someone about your research and how you can do one thing or another and keep a conversation, I think it's a very good way to do it. And always that's a thing that's been discovered by some researchers, that the fact that it's a machine and that that's gonna judge you make it can help you be like more open to share, and also to share these nuances that can help us to connect with different fields. So I think it's very powerful of AI. That's mean maybe a bit pass on it, but this part of co-creation, of reflection, of idea generation, it's a very powerful way to use AI also. Well, now we start. It's more like the last part of the presentation. That's more about how to. It's more a practical approach. So, because most people still there is problems or want to be more specific in how to communicate with AI. So this here you have a few is a longer phase, but here we have a few techniques that works very well in most of the models. The first is actually placing a role playing, so telling AI now act as an expert statistical researcher because you have some problem with SSPS and you need some help. So you go and the first sentence to the AI is ask them to take a role, and then you go over the task that you want to do. But just give them a role to the AI, and it will keep this role to the end. So that's a technique that's used to work very well, and also is the step-by-step breakdown. So also another technique that's to communicate with AI and that works very well is before asking for a task. So if I want, as I said, if I want to improve my manuscript that's already done in the methodological part, I can go I can go in two ways. The first one is if I want to improve my manuscript, which steps I should follow, and he will ask about the steps. When he has the steps, you can say, okay, now run these steps, and it will give you actually a better result than if you ask directly to revise your manuscript in the methodological section. So if you ask for the parts and then run these parts of the process, it used to work better and have better results than if you go straight to your results. And also you can go in a more controlled way and just be you who give the steps. So first summarize the article, then identify methodological limitation, then propose alternative. Not directly just propose alternative for this methodological part. No, just give them steps to the AI, and usually as they have been built by engineers, and you know that engineers love the steps and the parts, so they will actually give you better results than if you go straight to the results. And also be specific about the format of your answer. So if you want this answer in a table, in a bullet points, in HTML code, if you want it in an actual text, if you want it in, I don't know, in any format that you want, but be specific of this. Actually, as we will see, I think in the next slide, or maybe more to the end, the first mistake that people does communicating with AI is being unspecific. You have to be very specific. As we said, these are narrow AIs. They are very good in doing specific tasks. If you, I know it's easy just to say one sentence, and then you have the results. But as more specific you are, you will have better results of the AI. You have to be specific about what you want about this AI. As we have here, overly broad question. So what's on AI and quantum physics? That's going to give us a very bad answer. If we ask which AI models have recently been applied to quantum physics problems, then we will have a very specific and very concrete response. And also don't assume that AI has the prior knowledge of everything of this. Just you have to give the context that you want these results to, or this response, and have to give you the information. Don't assume that the AI has been trained with this knowledge. Yes, Maria Jose, I think you had.
Well, this is just what I was about to remark. You do not only to refine your question, but also to allow the AI to know your starting point, to know your interest, and you know the starting field where you are asking for. Otherwise, it would be confound, and it would be difficult for them to give a correct or a more refined response. That is exactly what you just said.
Yes. As you are more specific, you are going to get better results. That's it. If you are specific, obviously you're going to get a result, because it will give you an answer, but it's not going to be a good answer. As much as a specific, as much as a good response. And now we are going to see, I know it's the next slide, or maybe showing yes, the next slide. Here you have a very interesting way of communicating with AI. Obviously, this is with for one model, that's the O1, that's from ChatGPT, and this is this structure was shared with one of the OpenAI founders in a way of communicating with this model. But it works very similar with any other large language model. So I think that's very specific. That we have first. I think that's in. I think that's in English. No, sorry that I had that it was in English, but I see that some of them is in Spanish or Catalan. But don't worry. So we have first your goal. First, what you want to achieve, what you want with now that you are communicating with AI. Then, as we said, the format, how you want the results. I want that here, as you said, as you see, that give me the name of the hike, then provide the starting address, the ending address, the distance, the time duration. So you are giving all of the information that you want in return. Then also you have the warning sections. That is just what are the things that you are aware that might be some problem related with this. So just to be more aware and to take it into account. And at the end is when you give all the context. That's the context down. So I'm a researcher, I'm working on this, I'm very interested on that, the data was collected in this point. As much as context as you give, better response. As much specific about your goal and your return format, and always also about the warnings, better results you're gonna get from the AI. So I think that's a very structure that's pretty simple, and that's very way to approach a prompt for an AI. Just the goal, the format, the warnings, and then at the end, all the context that you wanna give to the AI. And also, it's very important that because at the beginning, I don't know if you remember this flood of ideas that the prompt engineering people will be the job of the future, and that they will be very well paid and all these things. Well, that's not anymore the trend right now. The thing is that the prompt is important. AIs are getting better in understanding what we want about them, so they are advancing. And we have to be aware that it's not just I give one prompt, I get a response, and I'm done. No, these are a chat bot. They are conversational bots. So don't just give one instruction and get the result. No, you have to refine your prompt. You have to go over. Okay, now I have this. I don't like 1 and 2. Disregard these options. Explain in a deeper way the option, what you are saying here. Why are you saying this? Why this is important? So just keep going the conversation. Don't give one prompt and then I'm good with the response, or if I don't like the response, I restart a new conversation. No, keep going deeper in this way. Keep refining the responses of the chatbot, because you're gonna get better results in this way for sure. And these are the way that things that you should keep in mind. So humans must verify the AI outputs. That's the thing that we said at the beginning. And is us, the researchers, the job that check it against reality. One thing is the data. One thing is that summarizing this data and getting insights and patterns from the data. But we have to make sense of this data. We have to construct, to build the narrative that gives the response to the research. So what the thing that's not that it's very bad AI doing it is understanding context, meaning, and social nuance, because it's a machine, so it's not going to be good in the more human part of us. So about understanding context, about understanding irony, for example, it's not good understanding ironic sentences or nuances that are more related to emotional or to the more human way to express it. At least right now. Maybe in the future, sure, we'll get better, but right now we have always to check on this and to reflect on the context, on the actual meaning behind it, and actually in the nuance of the language and of the data that we are working on. And also for that's more from an ethical way of saying it. We work with real children. We work with families. So behind our research, there is persons. So it's very important at the beginning of the research before starting to see where to use AI, where is actually giving us added value, that it's giving us the things that maybe without AI cannot be done, and maybe use AI in that way. But also think about if it's necessary using it, or is maybe not adequate to do it. And also, as he shares, it says here, the most important thing is make sense of the information that AI provides. Construct, build these narratives, make sense of the data, create knowledge from the data that AI is giving us. And well, I think we are just now in time. I had some. We'll finish here. That some tools that you may use for in research depends on your goal. As I said, depending on your task, and AIs are very narrow, so they are very specialized for different things. These are some of the AIs that I recommend, that I've used in some point. Obviously, there is a lot more, and a lot more that are more related with giving with class than more than research. But relating to research, these are some that I think are very interesting. If you want to see visually about how literature relates to some topic, Research Rabbit. If you want to design your research, Kickstart, it's good in a lot of ways, not just in the research question, but to see how to do all the research process. Kickstart is a very nice platform to use. If you have some answers and you want responses based on scientific literature, Consensus App also is a good way to discover new articles, chapters, books, because obviously all the answers are based in some source of scientific knowledge, and also is linked to this source. And also for literature reviews, more extensive or comprehensive literature reviews, you can do it with elicit.org or Lateral, to more about literature curation, and that tells us the citations, and if the citations are in favor or against what is saying a paper site or the semantic scholar. SciSpace also to build your own repository of data, or more than data, of literature, your own repository of literature, and then you can ask and chat with the different articles, or even with a group of articles. You can create, for example, a folder of childhood participation in research, and then you can you can have a conversation with the articles, but not just with one, but with the consensus of the whole literature that you have uploaded. For citation, it's Anara. For content analysis, that doesn't change. It's Alesti or InVivo that have already integrated AI. For academic writing, Paperpad or Grammarly, that just you can download the app and put it in your Word, and it also helps you to improve your English. For improving your manuscripts, Testify, and Notebook LM, that's from Google. Works in a similar way of SciSpace. And for PDF transcription, if you need to scan a PDF and have it in text, you can do it with Almost CR, or with Easy Peasy or 11 Labs if you have interviews, discussions, focus groups that you have to transcripts. And for chatbots, here you have the most famous chatbots. I recommend to follow in X Mustaq Bilal, PhD, because that's an influencer that talks about research and AI. It's very practical, in a very practical way. I mean, he is always talking about platforms, tools of using AI in research. Obviously, he has a sponsorship, so he has some websites that pay him to talk about it. So be aware of that. Be critical about what he says, but he recommends a lot of tools that are very interesting. And also you have in TikTok this other account that's, I think that's also interesting. But as I said, I had some more practical or participatory approaches, but as we don't have time, let me go to the conclusions. And that's as the things that you might your takeaways from this session, I think, will be that AI is a way to enhance our research, not to substitute or doing our job, but it's a powerful enhancement. And it's irreplaceable, our expertise, our intuition, and our ethical judgment. That it's what makes our research relevant, and we cannot lose it. Embrace AI for its superpowers, but keep in mind that there is limits to it, as we have seen. And also always prioritize ethical considerations. So if ethically we see that it's not ethical to use AI or to share this data with another platform that's owned by a third person, don't do it. Don't ethical standards go over our convenience. And as scholars, I recommend to keep learning about AI and new tools and approaches that it can bring. And as has been a little bit more of an hour, I will leave it here and hope that you enjoy it and at least learn something.
Thank you so much, Arnau, for the presentation and for all the tools that you have provided, and also the insights. No, that how do we use the AI, and when is it okay to use it, and when is it okay to not use it? So I think also just reflecting about the ethical way of using it, it's really interesting, and also not having that kind of mythical view of AI that it kind of does everything when the case it's not doing everything. So I think for me it was a very interesting presentation, and I learned a lot. So thank you for that.
Well,
And
go over, Madalena.
no. I was just saying that it has been recorded, so we will upload it in the Eurofamnet webpage, so it's available for anyone who wants to consult.
Okay, I just was about to say that I think I didn't write my email in the presentation, but if you have any question, anything that you want to go over, you always can write me at arnau.erta, E-R-T-I, like my name and my last name, at udl.cat. If you have anything that you want to ask, or if you need some help or tips, console, anything, you can always write to me.
Thank you again, everyone, for attending, and thank you for the presentation. And well, we will send you information of next trainings that we are going to be having. So some of you have marked that you would like to receive the information, so we will be sending you the emails with that information. So thank you again, and see you next time. Yes, we can send the PowerPoint slides. And now send that he was he will provide them available. And I don't know if we will send them by email, or again we will upload it to the Eurofamnet webpage so you can access them there. So we are still deciding whether we will send it or we will just upload it in the webpage and you can access them. Okay. Thank you. Bye.